Hi everyone and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of my favorite and least favorite top coats for your fluid acrylic art. I have a few sprays, an iridescent, a gloss top coat, and I will be reviewing resin as well. I just don't have it here. We'll go over the pros and cons for each, starting off with a satin spray varnish. This can was $16.99. I don't use much for a canvas, so it maybe costs $1 to cover a painting. So very inexpensive. Definitely a pro. The other positives to using a satin or matte spray varnish top coat is that it is very easy to apply. You do want a well ventilated area, but if you have that, you just spray it on and leave it and you're good to go. So easy and quick, which is great. There's also no glare. I have it out in direct sunlight here, and you can see the painting doesn't look different at all. So under any lighting, it's going to look the exact same. You won't have any glare. That's another positive. Some of the cons, because it is matte or satin, colors aren't going to look as vibrant. It doesn't look very different than without the varnish. So I would use this one if you want the painting to look the exact same, but you want to protect it a little bit. So that is our satin spray varnish. Let's move on to a gloss spray varnish. I usually use this Winsor+Newton. I really love this brand for any kind of varnish. So that is my go-to. This can was also $16. So again, to cover a canvas, you're maybe looking at $1. Very inexpensive. That is our first positive. The other positives would be if you want it to be very shiny, it's going to be very shiny. The colors are going to look nice and vibrant, and those metallics will really glisten. But honestly, I stopped using the gloss spray varnish because I hate how textured the canvas looks under certain lighting. That is a big con for me. So I honestly don't use this one anymore. But if you want a really glossy painting, go for your gloss spray varnish. It's nice and easy. On to our next. And boy, oh boy, did I try so many different methods with this iridescent varnish by Duraclear. I was so excited for it. I tried mixing it in with my paint, putting a flood layer on, brushing it on using a foam brush. All the results I do not like at all. You can see an example here. The color looks really cool with those violet undertones, but you can see the brush marks, and anywhere that is slightly thicker, it looks almost milky and covers a lot of the painting underneath. This is a more expensive method. I think I used about $5 worth of varnish just to cover this piece. The whole can was $20. And honestly, if I want an iridescent finish or look, I'm just going to use iridescent or really sparkly paint. Not going to use this again. I just could not get it right, no matter how I tried. So I was very excited for this one, but not going to be using it again. I was so excited to get an iridescent finish. So I also tried to mix this directly in with my acrylic paint and pour it out, but the painting always cracked after. So I tried my best, but I will not be using that one again. On to our next, which is the Tri-Art top coat, and it is a gloss one. I've used quite a few different Tri-Art products, and I really like them. This is probably my favorite liquid varnish. You can see it is very glossy. It's nice and smooth. The colors look amazing. And there are two different ways that you can apply this. You can do my preferred method that I did here. I poured on a thick layer and spread it out. You do want to watch that it doesn't pull away from the edges. You can also brush it on with either a varnish brush or a foam brush. But seeing the brush strokes with the top coat drives me nuts. So I usually prefer to do a flood layer. The bottle I showed there was $10.99. I used half of the bottle to cover this with a thick layer. So it is a $5 top coat, a bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it for not seeing the texture and how smooth it is. So if you're looking for a cheaper and slightly more easy to use resin alternative, I would highly suggest the Tri-Art top coat. But now let's move on to my favorite, which of course is a resin top coat. I use Magic Resin. It is the most expensive option. Each canvas costs me anywhere from $5 to $10 to cover one canvas. Let's start off with the positives. Resin is by far the glossiest and the most smooth finish. You can see it looks absolutely amazing. It is incredibly durable. It makes colors look great. Any little imperfections or texture is covered. I just love a resin top coat. The negatives for it would be it's a lot more expensive and it is tricky to use and more time consuming. You have to mix it, pour it, make sure no hair gets into it. It's very tricky. I do have a video going over some tips and tricks, but if you're up for the challenge, I would suggest using resin for your top coats if you want the most beautiful finish. If you're looking for a slightly cheaper and easier method, I would suggest using the Tri-Art Gloss top coat. I wouldn't suggest to use the iridescent finish. I tried it in so many ways and was just so disappointed. If you want iridescent, use iridescent paint. And if you want the easiest and cheapest way to protect your painting, go for a spray varnish. You won't have any brush lines. You can use the matte version to have it nice and subtle, or you can go more glossy if you're looking for more vibrant colors. But remember, the spray varnishes won't cover the texture of the canvas. So there is a few options, with my favorite being a resin top coat. It can be so tricky to get the hang of, but once you do, you get the best looking canvases. They look so professional and amazing, and resin will always be my favorite. But there is a few different options for you depending on how much you want to spend, how much time you have, and what finish you're looking for. That is all for today, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.